Thanks so much for joining me for this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind. We are in the middle of the High Holy Day season. Rosh Hashanah took place relatively uneventfully. It came shortly after we returned from Europe, so there was a little bit of a rush. We went the first day to an independent minyan near my in-laws' home, where my wife was one of the significant participants. Usually we go there the second day as well, but for some practical reasons, they decided to only hold it there the first day. So we were at our usual congregation the second day. I did not mind it. It was conducted expeditiously and tastefully. The rabbi made appropriate comments of appropriate length. The fluency of the service went well, and it ended a little bit earlier than what one would expect for the second day Rosh Hashanah. A few days later, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, passed away, not entirely unexpectedly, but sort of. So arrangements were made to have the funeral on the day before Yom Kippur. We then went into the Yom Kippur service, where I was one of the participants. It was a much less satisfying experience than Rosh Hashanah. I can't honestly say that I liked being there. There are a variety of reasons for that, some having to do with the cadence of the experience, some having to do with the people I was with. But it wasn't a bad experience, but it wasn't my first choice for where Jewish participation tops out. It ended on time. We got home to eat, and now we transition to Sukkot. Our sukkah has not yet been built, but the structural parts are on the deck waiting to be assembled. My own disposition has some baggage from my Rosh Hashanah experience, including some somewhat objectionable encounters and runarounds by our congregation's influencer in chief. On the plus side, our daughter had arranged to come, so she was able to be there for the funeral. My son and daughter-in-law also drove for that and returned home to Pittsburgh later that day. Having my daughter for Yom Kippur and introducing her to the new rabbi and letting her take the accolades that are duly hers enhanced the holiday. She's now back home, having taken her to the airport, and left by myself for Sukkot, and great ambivalence as to how immersed in the holiday I would like to be. Definitely not my best encounter, but I made an effort to say what I think with great certainty, and no particular concern of uh, what the president thinks of how he handled upcoming events and his midday speech. Independence goes at the top of my whiteboard, uh, advised by Mayor Bloomsburg himself at my son's college commencement, and adhered to now for, I guess, about 15 years. 15 years this year. So that's where we are with the holidays going forward. There are other things that I want to do, and will do them. Um, there's a lesson from the Impressionists that we encountered in France. Impressionism was not initially well received. The early Impressionists all went to the same school and branched out on their own. They came to a branch point where they had to decide among several different courses. They could adapt to the commercial realities of French painting and do what patrons seemed to be willing to buy. They could just paint what they wanted without concern to how it was going to be received by anybody else. Or they could set up their own independent path, which Claude Monet did. He eventually went to London, where a benefactor did like his work and made arrangements to have it on display in New York, where it was also well received. Then returned to Paris with the credential already established so that he can do what he really wanted, and everybody else who had been spurned can continue to do what they wanted with acquisition of the acceptance that had eluded them initially. That's my sense of public Judaism. My synagogue was not a great experience for Yom Kippur, and probably won't be going forward. But when presented to express what I think about it, I'm going to do exactly that, and have already started. Thanks so much for sharing this session of Dr. Plotzker's Mind.